Hello, and welcome to the first development video for Hero of Allacrost. My name is Tyler, also known as Roots, and I'm the founder and lead developer for this project. Today I'm going to show you the current state of this game and share with you what our team is working on, as well as toss out a few design ideas that we have been bouncing around. This project has been in development for a number of years, and we've released several playable demos in the past, which you can check out on our website. We are now working on the first release module of the True game, which follows the story of a young knight who heads off on an important mission, only to return and find his city under attack by an unknown force. There's nothing fun to do on our main menu here. The battle, menu, and shop options that you see are only for debugging and are not something that the player would normally see. So let's go ahead and start a new game. Now this initial scene is completely hands-free. The player has no interaction here. And the dialogue that you see is all temporary. It's going to be completely replaced with something else because this dialogue is actually extracted from the game's novel that is written. The way this project started was actually as a short story that I wrote one day, and so I've continued to write that story, and then the game is basically based on this novel that I continue to write. The sprites you see here, they're all knights, and I'd like to see a little more variation among them. You see the screen is centered on one sprite that looks different. That's our main character, Claudius, and the guy off to the right is the captain of the knights, as we'll see shortly here. That little green bar in the bottom right is for the stamina meter on the map. So it basically determines how you can run. I'd actually like to hide that for this scene because it's not important. The player has no movement control. So now the player finally has some control here where they can, you see, you can fast forward through the dialogue. And I'm not going to read all this dialogue because there's just a lot of it. See, we have some nice visual effects going for us. There's a little sandstorm and some lightning in the background. And we're just going to skip through this because this video will be long if we sit through all the dialogue. So the knights have to form squads to get through the cave. And now we transition to the inside of the cave, and for the first time the player has control. Now you can see that little infinity sign on the stamina bar down there. That basically means you can run forever. If you hold down a key, then that translates walking movement into running. That's just a debug feature for this map to help us get through it more quickly. It's not, this isn't going to be an infinite run map in the real release. So you see we can talk to these knights along here. It says Calarte there. That's basically an in-game lore term for meaning a knight in training. He actually should be a knight. That's something we'll have to change here. Yeah, I'm going to avoid this little... Oh, I couldn't avoid him. Okay, so here's our first battle. And the first thing you might notice are these red squares that appear above the knights on the left side of the screen. And that's basically something that I just added to the image to say, you know, this is temporary, this needs to be changed and go away. So the first battle starts out with this dialogue here. And the player is given the opportunity to learn about different features of battle because we don't want them hopping in right away without, you know, knowing anything about what to do. But we're going to skip that because it's not really relevant for this video. So first thing I want to make you aware of is that this is not balanced at all right now. So currently the game is really easy and these enemies die pretty darn quickly. You can see that I can select actions for the characters before they're ready to execute those actions, and that just helps speed along the battles and make it battles a little bit more fluid, and you don't have to sit there and waste time, you know, in the menu. It's not all stop and go. So you can see the enemies respawn right there. I don't want to fight him again. In between these two knights there's supposed to be what's called a mock hound. It's basically a large dog. It's kind of like a horse in the game. We have a sprite for that right now, but we don't have the animations for it, so that's something that we need to add. Oh, here's something cool. So you can see that little bug crawling between holes on the wall. It's pretty neat. So we're gonna run through the cave here, and here's just a little miniature scene, and you see that skeleton on the ground, and you wonder, hey, why is that skeleton so crappy? And that's because I drew it, and I'm not an artist, but I try. So that skeleton had a potion that we acquired right there. And here's a snake we can fight, but I don't want to fight him. I'm trying to avoid too many battles in this video right now. So now we go through this little dark section, and there's actually an enemy in here. I'm surprised that I avoided it. Yeah, there it is. And you might say, well, why would you put an enemy in there? You can't see it, and so the player can't avoid it. And the answer to that would be because I'm a dick. So this is just a bunch of bats. It's nothing too crazy. If you look closely, you might see that as these bats take damage, their appearance changes. You see that they get little holes in their wings, and they have blood that's dripping off of their torso. That's one of the cool features of this game, is as enemies take damage, their appearance gradually changes over time. And that's actually a really easy feature to add. I'm surprised that it worked out as well as it did, because basically there's 4 different frames of damage and we blend them together. So I know this is the wrong way to go, but the game prevents you and says, oh no, this is the right way. So we're trying to get to this riverbed to unblock this rock. And we look and we follow this guy here as he's making his way through this passage, and then we go. But then the screen shakes and suddenly it's obstructed. I'd like to see like rocks falling down instead of, you know, the screen just fading to black and then all of a sudden, oh, you can't go this way. But that's just kind of how it is at the moment. And you see this guy's dialogue changes after that, and he says, okay, now you have to take the long way around. So, let's see. What else can we talk about here? This part... No, I don't want to fight that snake. This part of the cave, you can go down further, but it's prevented in this first encounter of this cave. And the reason I added that there is because I was hoping to come back to this map later in the game and do something else in this cave, but I didn't want to allow the player to explore that part yet. So, one annoying thing right now is that, as you see here, let's just kill this enemy off really quick. You notice that there were 2 slime sprites crawling around on the map coming after me. Well, after I finish this battle, the one that I encountered with will be gone, but the other one will still be there. And so I'm just going to avoid him. And one of the things we need to do is to figure out a way to either grant the player some temporary invulnerability, because if you get cornered by a lot of these sprites, it becomes a pain in the ass, really. So this is a little bit of foreshadowing with this noise here. And we'll see what's down further in the cave. Let's go ahead and stop and take a look at the main menu here. So you can see those red squares again because there's portraits missing for these knights. One of the things that I was thinking about doing was reducing the initial party size from 4 to 3. Just because I don't want to throw too much at the player in the beginning, and having a full party might just be a little too much. But you can see here, this main menu is pretty old in its design, and you can see there's some bugs right here where it's not completely drawing on the screen. But we have been discussing a complete overhaul of the design here, and we just haven't gotten around to actually doing that design because it just hasn't been a large priority for us. And you can see these knights have different equipment right here. That scorpion's blocking my way. Okay, I got past him. So here, the game automatically takes control and sends the player through this little inlet, I guess, in this cave. We're coming close to the end of the cave now. I think there's a treasure. No, I thought there was a treasure down there. I forgot. So, to recap, the knights are here to unblock a water passage. And so, now we finally make it to the end of the cave. And I'd like to see more animation in this section instead of them just standing around and like this. But we just don't have the artwork right now to show that part. One thing you might notice is that only Claudius has a portrait, and one of the things I've suggested in the past is that we could use like some sort of silhouette portraits, because obviously we can't invest the resources to create the portrait for every single NPC in this game. But yeah, so that's just an idea. Because it looks kind of awkward when there's no portrait, and suddenly there's this really nice looking portrait. As you can see here, I can swap out the HP, SP, and it shows who has different status effects active right now. And this boss, obviously his artwork isn't complete. You see the one claw looks really nice, and the rest of him is just not shaded at all. So now we're done with this cave map, and we're going to be heading back to the city where these knights originated from. One of the things I want to do in this scene is the city is under attack, and so on the left side of the screen I want it to become eventually more and more bright with an orange glow to illustrate the fire that's burning in the distance. Another idea that I've thrown out is possibly making Claudius have the same sprite as all the knights so that he isn't so distinct, because it will make him feel like more like he's just another guy and not someone special initially, and then through his actions in the first part of the game he sets himself out from the rest. One of our other main developers has strongly objected to this, so we are going to see if that's something we do or not. I don't know, I'm interested to hear what other people's thoughts are. So now we're at the city that's allegedly under attack, but there's really nothing much here. We do not have the artwork to really produce a city that's under attack at this point. You can see this wall here and you wonder why does it look crappy, and again the answer is because I made it. I tried. And Layla is the sister of Claudia. She's one of the main characters, but she's initially not playable until later in the game. And you can see she just says, this is as far as we go right now. And there's not much else to do. You can see that we can save at any time. We might move to a different save system where we use, actual save points, but for now it is what it is. So this map is going to be completely redesigned because as it is right now, it is absolutely humongous. And this was one of our mistakes in past releases, is we just made our maps too big, and the interior structure is too big as well. So I know you can enter one of these buildings, I just can never remember which one it is. So we're going to try to find the interior of one of these. Maybe it's this one? Yeah, here we go. So now we're inside. And there's nothing in here but walls and a floor. We do have a lot of artwork for decorating these interiors with beds, and objects, and counters, and all sorts of things. So you can see that we can easily transition from the inside to the outside. They're not separate maps. And this is one of the features that we explicitly designed into this game because, well, let's just face it, no matter what game you play, it sucks waiting on a loading screen. So we try to mitigate that as much as possible. So you can see there's just this endless desert here. Then we come to a wall. And this wall is supposed to be for the castle that is contained within this town. And you can see we can walk up here, but there's really nothing. Like, this is as much of the castles we have. There's some pillars, but there's really not much else to show around here. So this is obviously not the end of our release. When the player comes to this town, it's going to be under attack by a number of demons, and then the player has to fight his way up the castle to the king. And there's many other scenes and story events that continue after this. But this is about where we go. You can see as I get closer to this character, their dialogue bubble becomes more and more visible to indicate that they have something to say. And once they have no new dialogue lines, it disappears completely. So that concludes this video. If you are interested in learning more about our project, please visit our website below. And if you'd like to join our team and help us work on this release, we'd love to have you. There's a link to a page in our wiki in the video description that will help you get started, so please check that out. And feel free to offer us your feedback and opinions by commenting on this video or on our forums. And you can also stop by and say hello at our IRC channel, Allacrost at irc.freenode.net. Thanks for watching.